Welcome to the KPC Smart Money Podcast with Kevin and Karen Christ. Well, we're going to have a fun topic. Last few topics have been kind of serious, economy and, the bad things going on. But we're going to talk about a new trend that's happening. And instead of quietly quitting, there's a new trend being called quietly returning. And older people are beginning to go back to work even though they are officially retired.
So you might hear, "I thought you retired," say teasingly to an old friend. Turn swiftly in a somewhat irate tone responds, "I am retired." The 66-year-old retired engineer goes on, "I simply do what I want, when I want." Pausing, he says, "And for now, I want to work a bit."
And there's lots of really good reasons for that are not necessarily financial. For many, today's retirement looks a little like work. But what's the difference? They work in their retirement on their terms, not their employers or even on society's expectations.
So our friend is not alone. Many recent retirees are saying they want to work at least a bit in retirement. More than 2 million people retired during the first 18 months of the pandemic. They now appear to be heading back to work in what might be best described as quiet returning.
Right. Today data shows that the quiet return to work of one-time retirees are at higher levels than before the spring of 2020 because of the alarm bells of COVID and everything else going on. People just retired early. And so at a time when quiet quitting, do you know what quiet quitting is? This new trend, it's crazy. In the younger generation,
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
They're doing the absolute dead minimum for their job. They call it quiet quitting. Good luck with those raises and gotten anywhere. But so why would people be doing the reverse? Quiet returning.
Do you see though, sometimes you'll go into like a store, you'll go into a business and you just feel like this person really just doesn't want to try to help you that much.
Yeah.
You feel
quitting?
That way?
Yes.
That's quiet quitting. You see these people, they're in a job it's just a paycheck for them, and they really don't want to be there. They'd rather, be doing something else. And it's so apparent,
Yeah.
So anyway, in part, the reasons for return includes that what might many assume, money worries and the looming threat of inflation. Survey data from JobList do indicate that 27% of those quietly returning to work were doing so because they needed the money, and another 21% feared that inflation was eroding their retirement nest egg. However, the data identified the primary reason for quietly returning to be neither money nor inflation woes.
Right. A full 60% of retirees returning to work said they were simply looking for something to do. Many people struggle with how to spend their time after they retire, and they miss the social connection that work provides.
While many scoff at the idea of work being more than a means to pay for a living, work serves other critical functions that go well beyond money. We are very likely to spend more waking hours with our work colleagues than with our family and friends. Consequently, work is a large part of our social world. Work structures our days, if not always to be our liking. It's not always a good structure, but,
It's a structure.
We humans are built to have structure.
Mm-hmm.
But while life may seem short, days with nothing to do or without a sense of purpose can feel endless. And as I observed in a previous article, socially isolating during the pandemic effectively became a fire drill for retirement planning. Unfortunately, during that time, many of us discovered that we are far from prepared for unstructured days, weeks, and years, no matter how long our to-do list was for retirement. So, I am, this year, president of our local Rotary Club. It's a 1-year term, and the reason why people do that, the average age of a Rotarian is probably over 60. And I think a lot of that is because people want to stay active. They want to have a tribe. They want to be, in a social, some kind of a group.
Connection.
Yeah, they want to have
Purpose,
connection.
though. A purpose,
right.
for sure.
Yeah, so we've got a guy that's been in Rotary two guys have been in Rotary over 40 years. But after retirement, they keep coming. Why? Because the social aspect of it.
Well, that jobless data also shows that more than half, actually 52%, of those quietly returning were happy to be going back to work. 42% even said they were excited to clock back in on a job. Similar to younger workers, retirees heading back to work, they're looking for flexibility. The vast majority, 79%, wanted to work part-time, and half of respondents might make many employers' hearts sing. They're saying that work could either be in person or remote. So not only do they get to go back part-time on their terms, they are actually finding a lot more in-person work versus the remote. So jobless comments, older workers quietly returning could be good news for employers. Retirees are an overlooked talent pool that companies can and should engage in order to combat labor shortages, which many companies are experiencing right now.
Karen, you talk about the older workers. It's people that come back to work part-time, sometimes maybe even in menial jobs. They're reliable. They're on time, mostly, right? And so they're appreciative of the job.
Yes.
Right? Unlike many of their younger workers.
Well, and they've got years and years and years and years of experience that can be tapped.
Yeah.
They have a wide range of things that they have probably done in their lifetime.
Yeah.
So that makes them versatile.
Yeah. So all that being said, returning to work is not without some trepidation. Nearly 30% of retirees surveyed by JobList expressed nervousness, stress, and frustration about returning to work. Getting back into the rhythm of work after being retired can be challenging. Just consider how difficult it has been for many people of all ages to go back to the workplace after the pandemic. Retirees may have multiple and compounding concerns. These might include feelings of being rusty after being away from work for a year or many years. How do you write a resume with several decades of varied experience? How to prepare for an interview with someone your child's or even grandchild's age?
Oh, that's wow.
Yeah, you think about that. Do you remember that movie? It was Robert De Niro where he went back to work. I forget the name of it. And it was for a fashion designer deal. And they were all young, avant-garde type people.
Yes.
And he shows up in his suit and in his, shine shoes. And and they all made fun of him. Yes, they all made fun of him and everything, but it turned out that he was like the star. So what is appropriate compensation is another thing that retirees might think about. And sadly, many will confront valid fears of not being accepted by employers and younger colleagues in workplaces that may be rampant with ageism.
Yeah. Well, some call those making this quiet return back to normal unretired. We have a new word, unretired. Not incorrect in phrasing, but incomplete in capturing the full impact of what those who are quietly returning may have on our social narrative of retirement. They are not simply unretired. They are actually pioneers. These older adults are inventing something that neither our current idea of retirement or of work. So they are quietly creating something else, a new life stage altogether that sees the retirement age of today. It's a mile marker more than it is an exit now. So our hats off to them.
So, one example of that is we know, you think about our client Brian and Ellen. Brian does all sorts of things, like he does stuff on eBay, but he and another person that I play golf with, they take cars, him and their wife, take cars like from a local dealer down to like San Antonio and Houston, maybe New Orleans, and then get paid to do that. And then they'll bring another car back.
What a great way to travel, and it costs you nothing.
Yeah. And so they get paid by the trip or by the mile. I'm not exactly sure. And who really cares? But, it just gives them something to do. We have another client that has plenty of money, but they're a marshal on a golf course. The guys that run around the cart with a little flag to make sure that you keep up with the group in front of you you're obeying the rules.
Yeah, we have another client that went to one of those pet retreats.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he loves animals. And then within like a month,
he was running the place.
No, they wanted him to be the manager. He's like, no, I didn't. No, I just wanted to come hang out with, the animals. So they really wanted his experience. Anyway, our hats off to you if you're thinking about unretiring. We get that it might be a little anxious or stressful, but it could be an awesome adventure. So until next week, be blessed. You're listening to Kevin and Karen Christ on the KPC Smart Money Podcast.
You've been listening to the KPC Smart Money Podcast with Kevin and Karen Christ. To listen to more episodes, visit kpcsmartmoney.com. You can also find the KPC Smart Money Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher.
KPC Financial Solutions is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investment and insurance products. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through KPC Financial Solutions, LLC, a registered investment company. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any reference to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. KPC Financial Solutions is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by KPC Financial Solutions. Hypothetical examples have been provided for illustrative purposes only. It does not represent a real-life scenario and should not be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation.